I'm Rocky Garsrick, the fire chief in Franklin, Tennessee, and I'm so proud to be here and be before you today as we honor the men and women in the Franklin Fire Department. But if you would please join me at this time and stand as we have our honor guard post the colors. Honor guard.
I'm going hurricane up. Forward. March. Left. Right. Left, right. Left. On guard. Halt. Post. Colors. Present arms. Hold over. Arms. Recover colors. Forward. Arms. Help. Help. Help, hard. Help, hard. Help, hard. Help.
Would you remain standing, and Chief Culberson please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, I'm very honored today to bring everyone together for this event. Please bless all families represented here, our firefighters, both men and women, so our future may look brighter, and all will with your help. In God's name we pray, amen.
Amen. I think that's a little deviation from the script, but we'll move now with our Pledge of Allegiance. Will you join me in that? I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may have a seat. Thank you. This is our award ceremony for 2010 and 2011. Forever in the Franklin Fire Department, we will remember 2010 as the year of the flood. And please allow me the opportunity to read from a script. But on May 1st and 2nd, a record rainfall of more than 13 inches of rain was recorded in Williamson County, displacing hundreds of residents and causing an estimated $16.5 million in flood damage to over 440 structures in our community. Better known as the 100-year flood, and I promise I will not be here for the next one. In a 48-hour period, the Franklin Fire Department responded to 398 rescues operations throughout the county. And the reason why we did this and had to do it throughout the county is because of our special operations teams that we deploy, from swiftwater rescue to technical rescue to everything in between. And believe me, it was hard times for every community, but the men and women of the Franklin Fire Department really picked up the baton and went to work to assist in any way possible, and I'm forever grateful for that. There were other significant events that occurred in 2010, including 2 tragic fire fatalities and 2 separate incidents within 5 weeks. Also, 4 of our firefighters were injured in an explosion that occurred while they were fighting a fire in the community of West Haven. Thankfully, they were all able to return the very next shift, but it is a constant reminder that we live and we serve in a very dangerous job every day. And all of our missions, when your husbands or wives leave for that day, is to get them home to you safely the very next morning. And so, but it is a constant reminder that what we do is inherently dangerous. And sometimes even the best safety measures that we put in place can go afoul. Also in 2011 was very noteworthy for our department in the area of superior emergency medical response. We had a record number of lives that we saved, and you're going to get to see the direct effects of that today as the men and women in this various organization receive awards for what they did in their actions. But first, I would like to introduce our mayor, Ken Moore. Mayor Moore, if you'd like to come to the podium and say a few words.
Thank you, Chief, and I'll make it very, very brief because I know the families want to see the ceremony. But this is a real unusual opportunity for me to get this many firemen in one room together without being a catastrophe or a disaster that's facing our community. And I want to thank you for showing up today, and particularly for the hard work that you do in your training and the work that you put your life at risk every time you go out on a call. And I'm very well aware of all the training that you do continuously because I see your trucks out here parked regularly, and I know that you are preparing for those moments when you may have to go out and respond to some of these dangerous situations. I appreciate your professionalism, and I appreciate your keeping our city safe, and I know our citizens appreciate the same thing. And lastly, thank you to the families that sacrifice many times because you are away working long hours, and we appreciate the sacrifice you've made. Would like to say hello to Mayor Miller. Thank you for being here, and that speaks well to our department and its professionalism. Thank you, Chief, for the opportunity.
Also, we're honored to have our city administrator, Mr. Eric Stuckey, here with us today. So,
thank you, Chief. I just want to add my thanks to what Mayor Moore said. I won't say a whole lot more because he said it very, very well, but I want to thank you for what you do every day. What you've done in the last 2 years, as Chief Garzarek recounted, has been incredible. There have been a lot of different challenges come your way as a team, and you responded greatly. You met those challenges every single time. And so I want to thank you for what you do every day, what you're prepared to do every day to protect our community, to keep people safe. And just thank you for doing that. And we want to be here to support you in any way we can to put you in the best position you can be to deliver those services and be there for our community in those times of need. So thank you again, and congratulations to those that will be awarded today. And again, thank you for what you do each and every day.
at this time, I'd like to introduce Sean Donovan, who is the chairman of our committee, awards committee. So, Sean, come on up, please.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. As you said, my name's Sean Donovan. I'm a firefighter over at Station 1 on B shift. I just want to thank everybody for coming out today with their families. As I said, I'm the chairman of the awards committee. Our committee's made up of a number of members from all the different ranks within our operations division, starting with Battalion Chief Eddie House, Captain Tom Chaffin, Lieutenant Michael Pardue, Engineer Jeff Stanifer, Firefighter Jeff Manfrey, and our Fire and Life Safety Educator Jamie Melton. All the awards that we're getting presented today have all been nominated by our peers and coworkers. So these awards that we're receiving were all nominated by one of our own. So the way it worked for this year's with the nomination process was all the nominations were received by the awards committee, and then any of the awards that were for position of the year were basically presented to all the different crews for votes. So the position of the year awards for firefighter of the year, engineer of the year, officer of the year, and support person of the year were all voted on by the different crews. When it came to the Meritorious Service Award, Exemplary Service, Phoenix, and unit citations, those were all voted on by the committee themselves. So we went up and reviewed all the nomination forms and went over all the narratives, and then when they were voted on by the actual personnel from the committee. All right. Now, the awards you're going to be receiving today are all temporary awards. You'll be receiving your ribbons. The actual award you'll be getting is basically a copy. And when we get all the awards in frames, which are to the framers currently, you'll be receiving that frame certificate shortly. So it should be within a week or so. So we'll get those all to you. All right. And one other thing of note, if you get an award today, we ask that you try to stay throughout to the end of the award, because we're going to try to do a group picture with everybody who's actually received an award this year. So if you could, at all possible, stay with us to the end, I'd appreciate it. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Chief Garza.
Thanks, Sean. We're going to begin this session with a video clip. So at this point in time, would you please start the video?
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, ma'am. The water's at the top of cars right now. We're at Verizon and Sprint's Furniture on Mallory Lane. None of us can get out to the street at all. There's a lot of cars that soon will be underwater. And
okay, is there anybody in the car?
Yes, ma'am. We're all in our cars. We had to vacate the furniture store, and there's one car, the water's almost to the top of it down in the front parking lot right now.
The City of Franklin Police Dispatch received 200 emergency calls May 1st as the floodwaters began to rise. The average number of calls on an ordinary Saturday is about 27.
There goes my TV. Huh?
Can you get out?
No, we can't get out. Please help us.
All right, stay on the line with me.
Okay. Oh, my God. We have dogs in the car, too.
Okay, what I need
We thought we could make it, but we were wrong. I'm sorry.
The City Streets Department was the first on the scene as the high waters made several roads impassable.
The rains just kept coming and getting heavier and heavier, and we wound up closing somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 streets over that entire weekend.
As the rains continued to build from Saturday into Sunday, it really became more of a bigger flood issue, and we needed to look at larger responses and long-term recovery efforts, et cetera, and that's when we started to call in the whole of our city leadership team and to start have discussions about both what we do for immediate responses as well as what our next actions would be to help people recover and return to normal as quickly as possible. One of the interesting things we ran into was just the importance of continuing to communicate with our citizens, and we did that in about every way we could think of, from going on radio and TV to also using Facebook, Twitter, using our website, setting up a phone number that people could call into and get updates, and really just trying to reach citizens any way we could to help provide them with good information.
Franklin's public safety teams were working around the clock to rescue stranded residents across the city.
We sent some people over to Academy Sports, and they procured us a couple of boats to use, and it really helped us save a lot of people in this community. This is what we live for, is to help other people during their time of need.
And I said, you know, everything y'all got in this house can be replaced, but nobody can replace either one of you. And I said, it's time to go. And they looked at one another and, you know, they said, he's right. And in the boat they went, and we got them out in a hurry.
The Franklin Police Department played a pivotal role, not only in dispatch, but out on the streets, keeping people safe from flooded areas.
At any given time, we had nearly 30 officers on the road. We were used in a variety of capacities, from closing off streets that had been closed due to flooding, to actually having to deal with people who were out jet skiing in the Harpeth River where it had overflown.
Early Monday morning, after the rain subsided, the worst happened when a fire rocked the Fieldstone Farms neighborhood. Firefighters worked in the dark and in high waters to contain the fire.
We had one structure that was on fire, and the fire was impinging on the structures on each side of it. And our crews were heroically standing out in 4 feet of water up to their waist fighting these fires. And it was extraordinary. I'd never seen anything like it in my 37 years.
Franklin Fire rescued close to 400 people, and more than 440 structures were damaged. The next step was the recovery process and getting Franklin back in shape.
They've lost everything. I mean, they've lost completely everything. Just household stuff. They've been having to re-tear the whole house out and start all over.
The Solid Waste Department collected a record amount of debris over the 7-week period, on average 100 tons a day.
For us, our staff was not only surprised but shocked, but then they took great pride in being able to help folks, help them get cleaned up, help them, protect public health, as well as give them a little light at the end of the tunnel that, hey, part of their work, had been taken care of and was gone from curbside, and they were actually able to move on with their life or move on to the next step, whatever the next step was for them.
The city worked closely with FEMA and held a community meeting on May 10th. The city offered free building permits to residents affected by the flood. The city park system sustained close to $500,000 in damages, with Fieldstone Sports Fields and Pinkerton Park receiving the most harm. Hundreds of people called with offers to volunteer or help anyone affected by the flood. The Parks Department was able to put some of those volunteers to work on May 15th to rebuild Pinkerton Park. They cleaned up the playgrounds, mulched, and more.
The storm that we experienced on May 1st and May 2nd had a tremendous impact. It was literally a historic event. It exceeded the flood estimates and storm estimates that you see for an over 1,000-year event. So we responded to something we may never see again in our lifetime. We don't know. It will have implications for us going forward as we learn from it and do better. We think our city organization responded tremendously. We saw the community respond to one another and step up and help friends and neighbors and strangers alike. Everyone stepped up to help one another, and that was a great experience to see that happen. As we go forward, we will continue to learn from the experience and be ready next time. It may not be a flood, it may be some other event, but we want to be ready to serve our citizens, meet them in a time of need, and help continue to provide excellent services and help people return and recover to normal life when something like this happens.
Not only did the city team respond, but many Franklin citizens came forward on their own to help those affected by the flood. GraceWorks Ministries is affiliated with more than 40 local churches. They specifically assisted over 100 families with basic needs such as food, housewares, cleaning, and building supplies. Close to 500 volunteers served 1,800 hours for flood relief.
I've been doing this 38 years. I've never witnessed anything like that. What extraordinary actions on their part. But we're going to begin here with the Meritorious Service Award. Sean, could you come up, please? And if the following Fire Department employees are here, would you please come forward? Battalion Chief Gentry Fox, Captain Tom Chaffin, Captain Jeff Elliott, Captain James Jennings, Captain Glenn Johnson, Lieutenant Ricky Cotton, Lieutenant Michael Pardue, Lieutenant Roddy Petty, Lieutenant Steve Raymer, Lieutenant Todd Stapleton, Engineer Tommy Anderson, Engineer Rodney Ballington, Engineer Richard Hasley, Engineer Kirk McGee, and Engineer Mike Morgan. Engineer Sean Williams, Firefighter Tommy Alexander, Firefighter Jeff Boggs, Firefighter Brian Brandon, Firefighter David Cloud, Firefighter Brian Doherty, Firefighter David Dodd, Firefighter Sean Donovan, Firefighter Alex Enox, Firefighter James Fox, Firefighter Jonathan Gill, Firefighter Jeremy Martin, Firefighter Jason Morgan, Firefighter Jeremiah Rogers, Firefighter Adam Vernon, Firefighter Jason Webb, Firefighter Kurt White, and Firefighter Todd Wilson. And please allow me to read what these firefighters and officers are being awarded this meritorious service award for. On May 3rd, 2010, an early morning explosion in a flooded Fieldstone Farms home sent flames shooting in the air, and the fire quickly spread to an adjacent address. More than 30 Franklin firefighters fought side-by-side blazes in waist-deep water, and they are being recognized today for their meritoriously service to this community for successfully fighting the fires under highly adverse and hazardous conditions. Would you please applaud these men? Thank you very much, guys. I have a 12-page script here, and I think that the person that emceed the Academy Awards didn't have as much to say. Our next award is the Medal of Valor, which occurred on May 2nd, 2010. Would the following firefighters and officers please come forward? Battalion Chief Eddie House, Captain James Jennings, Lieutenant Todd Stapleton, Engineer Kirk McGee, Firefighter Tommy Anderson, Firefighter Jason Morgan, and Firefighter Todd Wilson. I can remember this call very vividly. I was in the Emergency Operations Center, and I would be remiss today if I didn't stop for just one moment before we recognize these people for their service. And Assistant Chief Todd Horton and Assistant Chief Andy King, Deputy Chief Mike Culberson, myself, we spent almost 48 hours in our Emergency Operations Center along with our Assistant City Administrator. In our community, we were handling the operations and the resources in our community and make sure that the adequate resources were dispatched and to handle those particular events that were occurring both in Franklin and outside of Franklin. So, guys and girls, thanks for your help. We really couldn't have made it without you during that time. Wait. Oh, I would like to read what you're getting your award. I just want to make sure I didn't forget those guys that were here. On May 2nd, 2010, Franklin firefighters here is this group helped to rescue an individual who was trapped on top of her car in a flooded area of Waddell Hollow Road that is in Williamson County and Old Hillsborough Road. They responded to the scene at the request of the Williamson County Rescue Squad for mutual aid. They remained calm under extremely hazardous conditions and successfully removed the individual from danger. They are being recognized today for the Medal of Valor. Congratulations, guys. Thank you. Wiley Jones, would you please come forward? I told Wiley before this event ever started that this is so easy that I could just turn this presentation over to him. So.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate everybody being here. I'm Wiley Jones, firefighter at Station 1 A shift. There's an award being, and I guess that's next, that's been handed out next. Very dear to me and my family and my crew. Before I read the citation that I wrote, I want to give you a little preface to this. I actually wrote this 3 days after the event, the day after the first shift back, so roughly about 4 days actually. But I was a victim. I personally, a firefighter doing his job in a structure fire, became a victim of that very fire. We all, pretty much everyone in this room, and I'm sure actually probably everybody in this room, has fought fire, probably with the city of Franklin, probably with other departments. So we've all been there. We've been there, done that. We all have experience with it. I'm the same way. Go into a burning building, that's kind of what we do, right? It's pretty much sums up what we do. Completely routine, something that we train on all the time. I became a victim. Didn't see it coming. My crew didn't see it coming. I became a victim. I have a podium now, so I'm going to go ahead and say this, that all the firefighters in this room, pay attention in training. Make sure, make sure we don't let something like this happen again, but if it does, we're going to find a way out, or we're going to be able to help that person that was down. I never thought that I'd be that victim. So now I'm going to read the my citation that I wrote. And it's in third party. So I wrote it like a report. So, for actions taken on October 3rd, 2010, while captain of Station 1 A shift, Tom Chaffin was commanding 1606 Championship Boulevard, West Haven, for a patio fireplace fire that quickly spread to the second floor of the residence. After several areas of fire spread had been extinguished on the first floor, it had become evident that the fire had made its way to the second floor. While all other resources were committed and operating, Captain Chaffin assembled a crew consisting of himself, Firefighter Bull, and Firefighter Jones to advance to the second floor in search of fire extinction. Excuse me. Once in an upstairs bedroom, his crew experienced a catastrophic fire event that caused the separation of all three crew members, that caused Firefighter Jones to become trapped in the fire room, and Chaffin and Bull to exit down the main staircase. Once realizing Firefighter Jones wasn't with them, Captain Chaffin called a mayday. Then Bull and Chaffin advanced back up the staircase in search of Firefighter Jones with no regard to their own personal safety. Once found, Firefighter Jones was injured, lethargic, and not communicating with his crew, but was pulled down the stairs to the exterior of the structure into an area of refuge. Firefighter Bull and Captain Chaffin showed due diligence and steadfast dedication in the face of chaotic and very hazardous conditions to retrieve a firefighter down. Firefighter Bull and Captain Chaffin reflect great credit upon themselves, their crew, and the City of Franklin Fire Department. So, I'm going to have them come up.
Thank you, Wiley. At this time, would Captain Tom Chaffin And firefighter Chris Bull, join me at the front. I think Wiley just captured the spirit of what it is to be a team member and a crew member in a firefighting force. Thank you, Wiley. I appreciate those words. I'm sure your partners here on your team appreciate your words. On October 2nd, 2010, while fighting a fire in the West Haven subdivision, when an explosion occurred on the second floor, injuring Wiley. And it was a pretty harrowing experience for me as a fire chief to see a couple of your firefighters transported in an ambulance to a hospital, and at the time they were unconscious or coming in and out of consciousness, really not realizing what had happened to them. So I can tell you what we did as an administration. We immediately dispatched some of our chief officers to those hospitals to be with those firefighters and with those families during that time, because we wanted them to know just how important they were to us as our firefighting family here in Franklin. So because of these two men's heroic actions, from basically rescuing their own brother firefighter off the second floor, we are recognizing these two gentlemen today for the Medal of Valor for that particular incident. Thank you. Would the following group of firefighters come meet me up front, please? Deputy Chief Mike Culberson, Battalion Chief Eddie House, Captain Jeff Elliott, Captain James Jennings, Engineer Kirk McGee, Firefighter Jason Morgan, and Firefighter Todd Wilson. You know, as you see these firefighters getting multiple awards, even on the same day, you could only imagine in your mind what that shift was like for them to deal with in a 24-hour period or a 48-hour period. But these gentlemen standing up here, early on the morning of May 3rd, 2010, two volunteer firefighters became trapped on the top of a truck in a flooded area of McDaniel Road and Lamb Road while trying to rescue a man from a vehicle. We were called for a mutual aid. The Franklin Fire Department responded to the scene at the request of Arrington Volunteer Fire Department. And these guys remained calm under those extreme hazardous conditions and successfully removed the individuals from danger. And today they're being recognized with the Medal of Valor for their actions. Thank you. I might also add that this year will be my 8th year with this department. We started the awards after I got here and came on board, and we developed our awards committee. But this is the very first year that we have awarded the Medal of Valor, and we've had people go extremely above and beyond the call of duty. Our next award is the Unit Citation Award. So if I could have Fire Marshal Andy King, Assistant Fire Marshal Jeff Woolard, Captain Chris Brown, and Firefighter Jeff Manfrey. In this organization, we do more than just firefighting and emergency medical service or hazardous duty details or confined space and technical rescue. This recognizes a component of our department that doesn't get much recognition, and that is our prevention division. And please let me read. On May 7, 2010, jurors convicted Keisha Washington of aggravated arson for the May 30, 2006 fire that she started at Southwind Apartments on Thornton Drive. Our fire investigation team is being recognized here today for their efforts that led to conviction of aggravated arson with a unit citation for valorous conduct. Thank you. And I just might say that she got 18 years in federal prison for that because she jeopardized not only the life of her and her kids, but also the other occupants within that building. So I'm very proud of our arson investigative team that we have put together here in our department, and they work extremely hard for us. Our next award is the Phoenix Award. So if I could have the following firefighters, firefighter Ryan Naylor and firefighter Richie Schatz, come forward. These two gentlemen on September 3rd, 2010, Rescue 3 A shift responded to the Bonefish Grill for a reported person that had fainted. Upon assessment, they found a patient in cardiac arrest and initiated CPR. Due to their quick and deliberate actions, the patient regained a pulse and was even able to speak before leaving for the hospital in the ambulance. Wow. They are being recognized today for the Phoenix Award for their role in helping save this person's life. Let's recognize them now. Will the following firefighters and officers please come forward? Battalion Chief Gentry Fox, Captain Greg Wild, Lieutenant Lloyd Baxter, Engineer Richard Hasley, Engineer Larry Woody, Firefighter Chris Bull, Firefighter Daniel Donegan, Firefighter James Miller, and Firefighter Jason Morgan. If any of those are here, would you please come forward? Customer service. It's extremely important that we do so. I can tell you I get more letters and thank you letters from families that would perchance be traveling through our community that our firefighters are able to provide kind actions for, whether it be to stop along the side of the road to change a tire for a lady and her two kids in the car, or to assist a motorist that has really just run out of gas and maybe with two kids in her car. So we take customer service to the utmost in this organization, and I'm real proud of that fact that our guys go above and beyond. But on July 30th, 2011, an Ohio family was involved in a vehicle accident on I-65 while on their way to Florida for a vacation. There were no injuries, but their vehicle was totaled. Station 2A shift firefighters took the family and their luggage back to the station. They made them breakfast, helped them obtain a rental car, entertained their children, and even went back to the scene of the accident to retrieve their bags after they discovered it was missing. With the help of Station 2's personnel, in less than 2 hours after the crash, the family was back on the road. They are being recognized today for their tremendous service to this community. Would the following firefighters and officers please come forward? Battalion Chief Eddie House, Captain Scott Maynard, Engineer Anthony Sedlak, Firefighter Alex Enox, Firefighter Roy Richards, and Firefighter Richie Schatz. On September 3rd, 2011, Station 2 B Shift personnel is recognized as Exemplary Service Award for their role in helping to successfully treat a gunshot victim who required airway intervention on September 3rd, 2011. This patient made a full recovery, and it's only to their actions. So, thank you, guys.
I don't see any of these people here. You can work on this next.
Okay. Would Firefighter Brandy Damastis and Firefighter Greg Tucker please come forward? Just say firefighter paramedic. Please allow me to read what they're receiving the Exemplary Service Award for. Rescue 1A Shift is being recognized today for Exemplary Service Award for their role in helping to successfully treat a patient who was unresponsive due to choking. The firefighters responded to a Main Street restaurant and found the patient unconscious. They were able to remove the obstruction and revive the patient's airway. So thank you very much for your service. Bill, come on up, buddy. Sheila. Everyone knows Bill and Sheila Fitzgerald, and Bill has something that he would like to say at this particular time.
Hope I can get through it. I just want to say thank you to all my brothers, sisters from the fire department. Y'all have been amazing for us. Everything you've done, from prayers to working on our house to being there the night of the wreck. It's just, I don't know what we'd do without you. I really don't. So thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Y'all gonna help us distribute the certificates? Great. Please let me read the circumstance. On September 29, 2011, Bill's wife Sheila was critically injured in a motorcycle wreck, and our firefighters from B Shift personnel responded to the scene, where they loaded her in a helicopter where she was transported life-flighted to Vanderbilt Medical Center. Captain Joe Hill said, "My observation of the teamwork that was performed was outstanding. Everyone stayed calm and continued to do their job, even under the extreme pressure of knowing that it was one of their own and one of his wives. I truly believe that the professionalism care that this patient received and the divine intervention saved her life. The individuals who responded are being recognized today with Meritorious Service Award, and would you please come forward? Battalion Chief Eddie House, Captain Joe Hill, Captain Jonathan Jenkins, Lieutenant Tyler Cruz, Engineer Anthony Sadilak, Engineer Jeff Standifer, Firefighter Alex Enochs, Firefighter Jonathan Gill, Firefighter Chad Hollingsworth, Firefighter Keith McBoy, Firefighter Joe Posey, and Firefighter Rory Richards. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the job that you do. Thank you, Bill, Sheila. Good to see you. Would the following personnel please come forward? Firefighter Dan McDowell and Firefighter Terry Story. Okay, let me read what they're receiving an award for today. Rescue 1 B Shift is being recognized with the Phoenix Award for their role in helping to save the life of a patient on June 28, 2011. Firefighters responded to a reported 27-year-old patient who was having a seizure. Upon assessment, they found that the patient with an abnormal heart rhythm and a low heart rate. She quickly declined to having no pulse. Due to their quick and deliberate actions, the patient regained consciousness and the vital signs returned to normal. So, thank you, guys. Okay. Would the following personnel please come forward? Captain Scott Maynard, EMS Officer Sarah Glenn, Firefighter James Damastis, Firefighter Kyle Garner, Firefighter Roy Richardson, and Firefighter Alex Enochs. These personnel are receiving an award for Station 2 B Shift is being recognized with the Phoenix Award for their role in helping to save the life of a patient who was in cardiac arrest on August 9, 2011. This patient was resuscitated at the scene, transported to Williams Medical Center, and responsive upon arrival to the emergency department. This is a very successful full recovery of this patient. Thank you, guys. Would Lieutenant Jeff Moss, Engineer David Edge, Firefighter Mark Hall, please come forward. These firefighters are receiving the Phoenix Award today for their actions as Station 6 personnel A Shift for their role in helping to save the life of a patient who was in cardiac arrest on October 7, 2011. Now, based on the Phoenix Award, the whole intent of that award is that there must be a successful outcome. In other words, that patient must be discharged from the hospital with full functions. So it's quite extraordinary in the fire service, when you respond out on these calls and get these unconscious patients either in their homes or on the ground, and you revive them, it's such an internal thrill to be able to know you made a difference in somebody's life, and particularly you might have extended their life. So thank you guys very much. Our next awards go to our yearly awards. And this year, I would like to recognize someone that works side by side with me on a daily basis. And Cindy Wright, could you please come forward? First of all, I don't know what I would do without this person working side by side with me on a daily basis. Not only does she keep my schedule, but she helps me draft any documents that I need. She keeps all of our payroll in our organization of 159 personnel done on a daily basis. It's quite challenging. So this year, I'm very honored to award the Support Employee of the Year to Administrative Assistant Cindy Wright. This one comes with a story that I just heard today. I have a neighbor in my community by the name of Larry Webb, and he is the retired fire chief in San Marcos, California, who, Larry, I guess I can tell the whole story, but called me a couple of years ago and said, hey, we're looking to move to the Franklin area, and what's a good part of that community to live in? And he and I had an ongoing dialogue back and forth, and he had my cell phone number and called me all the time, but you know, I didn't get a commission on the sale of that house. But anyway, to make a long story short, Larry comes up to me today and goes, I go, are you just here because you want to see the way we do it in Franklin or at our award ceremony or what? And he goes, no. He goes, somebody that works in your organization, his dad was my driver in Orange County, California. So what's the chances of that? What I mean, you know, it's like they say, careful what you ask God for because it might come true. But Larry, I tell that whole story to introduce our Rookie of the Year this year is firefighter Dustin Anderson. This year, our Firefighter of the Year award goes to Mr. Richie Schatz. Come on up, Richie. Our Engineer of the Year award, who I just watched the other day at a structure fire going through his engineering initiatives, is firefighter Anthony Sadilak. And each year we award an Officer of the Year award. And this year's recipient is Lieutenant Sean Smith. Sean, would you please come forward? We're always on duty. This year, we have a Community Service Award I'm very proud to present. Lieutenant Perry Phillips is being recognized today with the Community Service Award. This is for more than 10 years of selfless service that he has devoted to the success of Camp Phoenix, which is a summer camp for burned children and their surviving families. So Perry, would you please come forward? This year, I decided while we had a captive audience to go ahead and do our promotions while we had everybody here, and the families all here. It was a way for us to celebrate that occasion as well. So at this point in time, I would like to call Lieutenant Tyler Cruz and his family to come forward and please pin his badge on him. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Tyler Cruz. Lieutenant Perry Phillips. Here. Come on. Lieutenant Perry Phillips. Lieutenant Steve Raymer. Lieutenant Steve Raymer. Thank you, Steve. Fire Inspector Jonathan Dye. and Captain Jonathan Jenkins. Captain Jonathan. We'll save the last one for another occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude our award ceremony. Please stick around. We have refreshments. We'd enjoy the time to spend with you in fellowship. So thank you very much for coming out today.